Dear organizers, dear colleagues, I'm a junior researcher from Hungary, the Eötvös Loránd University. My presentation is about the 64 fibulae came from the territory of the municipium in Brigatio. I would like to say a few words about the archaeological site. Brigatio is one of the two largest settlements of Hungarian Pannonia, which is situated on the Danube limes. Brigatio has a threefold structure. It consisted of a legionary fortress, a military town, and a civil town. Cemeteries can be localized around these three parts. From 1992 to 2016, archaeological excavations were conducted in the civil town. In the municipium, several strip houses, cellars, and a bakery, roads, wells, and cisterns were found. Structures of a bronze workshop and a glass workshop were also found. This map shows the remains of these constructions. Unfortunately, almost the half of the fibulae, namely 27 pieces, came from a surface soil or a section wall, or they were found at the excavation as stray finds. Fortunately, other pieces came from analyzable archaeological contexts. On this slide, I summarize the main points of my presentation. Firstly, I would like to list the main types and the quantity of the presented fibulae. After this, I would continue with the detailed typological classification. The question of the fibula production in Brigatio can also be discussed because several semi-finished and waste fibulae were found in the municipium. In the end, I am going to present the chronological information. This table shows the main types of fibulae. As we can see, fibulae from the municipium can be classified into 15 types. Fortunately, only 3 fragmented pieces cannot be defined. In general, a few information can be summarized. Almost all pieces were made of copper-based alloy. Only one object was made of iron. It is very important to mention that the typical native fibula types of this region, like the Norico-Pannonian winged fibulae and the Norico-Pannonian double-buttoned fibulae, are not presented in this material. The first two types have a foreign origin, and they could come to this region in different ways. The first piece is a fibula with a flat bow and a sprung pin. This fibula is an odd one out because it connects to late Latin forms. Only one piece is known from the civil town. The second piece is a hinged pin bow fibula. Only one piece came from the excavated area and it can be well defined. On the flatly arched bow, a wavy line can be seen. The close analogies of this fibula are missing from Pannonia, but it is not surprising. Other early Roman hinged pin bow fibulae can more likely be found in the Western Roman provinces. These types probably reached the province by soldiers or foreign civilians. Other types are more popular in this area. A great number of strongly profiled fibulae, Pannonian trumpet fibulae and knee fibulae are known from Pannonia. It is not special that a lot of fibulae of these types came from the municipium. According to the typologies of the region, they can be well classified. Only a few infrequent forms can be presented. Strongly profiled fibulae were made with or without a headplate. Out of the 5 fibulae, only one fragmented piece was made with a headplate. Based on the form of the bow and the dividing knob, this piece probably belongs to the variant 7073E. The other 4 fibulae certainly belong to 2 variants of the Ongren 84. The distribution area of the last 2 variants is probably the same, but the number of the published analogies is very different. Fibulae of the second variant are less known. The group of Pannonian trumpet fibulae is more numerous. 9 pieces can be presented. All fibulae of this type are made without a headplate and they can be classified into 4 variants. Unfortunately, one piece is very fragmented, so its definition is questionable. Let's see the first 2 variants. Originally, the first fibula had a big trumpet-shaped bow. Based on the dividing knob and the triangular shape of the following section, its typological definition can be easily made. Other pieces were made with a small trumpet-shaped bow. Two variants can be distinguished, both can be seen on this slide. 6 fibulae belong to these variants, including finished, semi-finished and waste products as well. Regarding the distribution area, I can say that this variant was very popular on the whole territory of Pannonia. A further small trumpet-headed piece is found in the municipium. On the edge of its bow, a small cut can be seen, and its ring-shaped, segmented dividing knob also has a characteristic shape. The last variant has a big trumpet-shaped bow. Another distinguishable characteristic is the segmentation of this section, meaning that the lower and the upper parts of the bow join to the dividing knob. One waist fibula can be presented here. It is interesting because it has a pin construction despite of the failed casting. It proves that this object was in actual use. The next type is the most numerous. 20 knee fibulae were found in the municipium. The pin construction of knee fibulae can be different, so I summarize the information about my objects. Most of the fibulae have a sprung pin construction, none of them has a hinged pin construction, and only 2 pieces have a sprung pin construction with a cover. Based on the main characteristics, 12 variants can be defined. The typologically sensitive characteristics are listed here. Most of the knee fibulae of this archaeological site can be defined as mass products, but the decorated pieces and fibulae with special form can be presented in detail. Chased zigzag and wolf-tooth lines can be seen on 7 pieces, but the most adorning decoration type is the white metal covering. I present these fibulae on this slide. They belong to different variants, and white metal cover can be seen on various parts of the objects. Supposedly, the whole surface of the fibulae was covered. Some measures were made by a handheld X-ray fluorescence. The purpose was the detection of the covering material. According to the observed components, the covering was not silver, but tin. As I said before, a few infrequent forms can also be presented. The first one is the fibula in the upper left side. Based on its main parts, the fibula belongs to a previously defined category of Monica Merzi, but its decoration is special and only a few analogies are known yet. Twin knee fibulae are much better known. Different variants can be defined, and they were very popular in Pannonia. 2 different twin knee fibulae came from the territory of the civil town. The first fibula has a double bow, which have a rectangular cross-section. The second fibula is more interesting. Its bow is composed of 2 dolphin figures. Their analogies are mostly known from Pannonia, but they also appear on further territories. Finally, I would like to present here a unique form. You can see the fibula in the lower left corner. The form of this knee fibula is special. Its whole bow is segmented. Anchor-shaped fibulae were also made with sprung pin construction. Only 1 piece is known from the municipium. Based on the main characteristics, its form can be well defined. It has a long rectangular headplate with knob decorations. Knob decoration can also be seen on the endings of the anchor-shaped bow and after the dividing knob. Only a few close analogies are known from Pannonia and the neighboring provinces. I would like to continue the presentation with further arched fibula forms. Predominantly, the wearers of the following types were not the local Romanized civilians, but soldiers or habitants beside the Roman limes. Based on the frequent appearance of fork-shaped fibulae on the limes area, they were mainly used by soldiers. In the civil town of Brigatio, 1 piece was found. Fibulae with returned foot were very popular in the Barbaricum, but they also appeared in the provinces of the Danube area. Only 1 piece is known from the municipium. Despite its 2-piece construction, this fibula belongs to the so-called barbarian type. T-fibulae can be manufactured with sprung pin or hinged pin as well. Firstly, I will present T-fibulae with sprung pin. Only 1 piece was made of iron. It is a very fragmented object, but it could supposedly be a T-fibula with sprung pin. The form of 2 chopper-base alloy fibulae could be well analyzed. One of them is a so-called Sarmatian fibula. Another fragmented fibula can also be seen on this slide. According to its close analogy from Hungary, the original form of this piece can be reconstructed. T-fibulae with hinged pin could be found in great number on the limes of the Rhine and Danube. Various forms of this type can be found on the most parts of the Roman Empire. 8 fibulae belong to this type. Based on the small differences, these fibulae can be classified into 8 variants. From the Roman provinces, their close analogies are known in various numbers. In the end, I should mention the onion-napped fibulae. Unfortunately, no intact pieces are known. According to the 4 knobs, the early form of the type could appear at this archaeological site. In the Roman age, disc fibulae were manufactured with various decoration types. The first fibula is a so-called tutulus fibula. Its surface is decorated with a knob and casted pearl ornament. In the Roman provinces, tutulus fibulae were very popular, but an exact parallel of this object is not known. I can present a few similar pieces from Pannonia. The second disc fibula has a very decorative surface. Originally, 9 black glass inlay and a thin metal sheet covered the disc-shaped bow. As far as I know, only a few similar pieces were found until today. I don't have all information about the color of the glass inlays, but blue and green glass were certainly used. According to the published pictures, the inlays have identical shape. I have information about the pin construction of 3 pieces. The fibulae from Hungary, Austria and France have a sprung pin construction. Based on their quality and similarity, these fibulae were supposedly made in the same workshop. Only 4 enameled fibulae were found during the long excavation period. All pieces have a different shape. 1 fibula with 2 axes of symmetry, 1 disc fibula and 2 plate fibulae can be presented. Various colors of enamel can be observed. The first fibula fits into a new category of the enameled fibulae from Pannonia. Although analogies are not known from Pannonia, several fibulae can be mentioned from the Western Roman provinces. Their list can be found in the archaeological database of artifacts. The disc fibula is decorated with a knob and enamel decoration in 2 rows. This form was very popular in the whole territory of the Roman Empire. Its close analogies are known from Lisbruck and Augst. The star-shaped fibula has a unique form. In the middle of the surface, a round perforation can be seen. Star-shaped fibulae are known from the scientific literature, but only 1 close analogy can be mentioned from Augst. Their form and size, plus the color of the enamel, are very similar, so these objects have a strong connection. I suppose that they were manufactured at the same workshop. The last enameled fibula depicts a mixed sea creature. It is a well-known form in Western Europe, and some pieces can also be mentioned from Carnuntum and the northeastern Pannonia. Analogous pieces are also listed in the archaeological database of artifacts. The last form is represented by only 1 ring-shaped fibula. The ring is closed, and the rectangular projection is decorated with cut-out motifs. According to the measures of the handheld XRF, the surface of this fibula was covered with tin. Although equal ring fibulae are uncommon, this fibula has a close analogy from the cemetery of the legionary fortress. In the past and the present, the fibula production of Brigatio was the subject of several research. According to the clay moulds, model, semi-finished and waste fibulae plus bronze waste, fibulae were manufactured at more than 1 part of Brigatio. I summarized the information in this table. The manufacturing of 6 types can be tested. Unfortunately, most of the finds are without exact finding spots, therefore a detailed chronology of the workshops by area cannot be made. However, two variants of Pannonian trumpet fibulae were certainly produced in the workshop of the Municipium. These fibulae are useful for the dating of this workshop. The detailed chronological information is summarized on this slide. Overall, the fibulae from the Municipium date back to the 2nd and 3rd century. Most of the types can be dated by the scientific literature. Based on their context, this information can be complemented with further data. Samian words and coins are useful for the investigation. Finally, I present the cited literature. And I would like to thank you for your attention.